got to that.
Call this meeting to order. I interrupt you there, man.
No, that's
Well,
fine.
stand to flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Commissioners, if you would take a look at the agenda for today, we have the hearing to vacate road on Banner Township. We'll have the county officer reports, resolution for CUP 24-09. I'm sorry, I guess we have Banner Township on there twice.
One is the hearing and then the other is the resolution.
Thank you. KDA grant application requests, approval for 2024 county inventory, consider on bids for structural steel decking and sheeting for a bridge on 1874 Flag Road. And we'll also, at the end of our session, go into executive session to discuss security measures in the courthouse. Do I have a motion to approve today's agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to consent agenda. The minutes from March 6th meeting are provided to you in your folders. Payroll is at $415,388.12. Special check was going to be $54,403, and escape tax of $3,291.18.
I move to approve the consent agenda. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Commissioner comments, commissioner reports. We'll start with you, Mr. Roller.
Just real quickly, go back to detention center. Been still working with the detention center. Things are going fine. Finishing up on the reports, and looks like again 7 new commissioners are going to be starting, so it'll be a new ball game again. So that's what's going on there.
Okay, I just briefly stopped by that Can Equip because they had their opening yesterday, or grand opening, and invited people, and it looks like a great facility. And it's amazing how large it is once you get inside there. And so another positive economic development showcase for Dickinson County. And then also I have a Central Kansas Mental Health Board meeting coming up again on Monday. So we've been meeting a little bit more regular just with some expansion of things going on. So that's all I have.
I do not have much to report. I was out last week, as some of you may know. My father fell ill, and went to go see him at the hospital in Florida. I did have a meeting, an executive board meeting with the EDC yesterday, discussing many things, but among them is the policies, the economic policies that we're going to try to put forth in the different communities in our town. It sounds like Solomon is very open to a CID policy in particular. We're going to draft one up for them. In that draft, it's going to allow them some ability to change some of the conditions on a yearly basis. They were concerned about getting locked into something for too long. So Jessica, I should say, from the EDC director, educated them and explained to them that it's very versatile, very great program. So it sounds like we're going to get something going in Solomon, and the plan would be to go after Chapman and Harrington next. So we're going to keep working hard at that. Pretty excited about that. That is all I have for today. Seeing no presentations of petitions or proclamations, we'll move on to public comments. Janelle, if you would like to read the rules.
Commissioners, per the Open Meetings Act, KSA 75-4317 and 75-4318A, as the elected board, the county commission is not allowed to meet or make any decisions without posting the meeting. They are only allowed to act on items on the agenda which they set. During their regular meeting, the county commission may allow for public comments on items not listed on the approved agenda. It is at the discretion of the county commission if they allow comments on agenda items. If you wish to provide comments, please come forward to the podium and state your name and address. If you are online, raise your hand and we will unmute you. Please state your name and address. Each person may speak for 3 minutes. The allotted time will start after the speaker has given his or her name and address. Public comment shall be addressed to the county commission only and not to the speaker or the audience. Only the county commission will be permitted to ask the speaker questions. The public comment period is not a back and forth discussion with the county commission. You should make your views and input known to them, but it is not a time to ask them questions. You should not expect them to respond to your comments. Comments may express support or agreement with the previous speakers, but in the interest of time, please do not repeat the same information. You may state something to the effect of your name and address, and you agree with the previous speaker. It is important to maintain a respectful, non-threatening atmosphere for anyone who would like to speak. Please do not engage in such actions as cheering, booing, clapping, insults, threats, etc.
Thank you. I'm unfamiliar with the hearing.
So actually, that does not start till 11:15 is what the notice stated, so we could move on to a couple other things. And this is a formality that the public could come in and make comments either for or against the
Okay.
vacation of the road.
At 11:15, we will start the hearing to vacate the road. I'm not going to read all them blocks right there.
Right.
All
You
righty.
could, take a look at the KDHE grants request or the county inventory or the structural steel if you so choose.
Yeah, why don't we do the KDHE grant request?
Let me find my paper.
I'm looking for that myself.
Well, actually, it's this one. Yes, yes. I'll get that.
Yeah, if you will. I think this is more of a formality, as Mel explained to me. We have to essentially accept the grant money that's coming in for the KDHE grant application. The grant is in the amount of $103,382,000. I'm not reading very well today, everyone. $103,382. This was a part of the community paramedicine program. No, I'm sorry.
Actually, these are the other grants that we utilize at the health department. So it's going to be the immunization program that we utilize, the maternal child health program, the public health emergency management program. Those are additional grants that we offer there at the health department.
Absolutely. Commissioners, if you want, oh, you got it, yeah. I think this one's more of a formality. That's just accepting the grant monies.
So I would go ahead and make the motion that we go ahead and proceed with providing the information and signature for the grant application request for KDHE.
I'll second that motion. Any other discussion?
The only discussion I'd like to add to that, President, is I'd like the public to know that what the county's cost to the community, its employees raise a lot of money. And that needs to be figured in, the kind of money we're spending on our county. I have a lot of comments about what these people are making, what our employees are making, and they don't realize the money they're making for us. And I want that noted. Thank you.
Good point. Good point. Thank you, Ron. Without any further discussion, I would ask for all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Got a second copy right there for you. Let's move on to the approval of the 2024 county inventory. I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at here, Janelle.
So actually, Marcus has the information on that. This is an annual process that we have to go through.
There's just a signature that we'll require at the end, but
So procedurally, this is done every year through every department, every piece of equipment or furniture or
Vehicles,
everything.
right. So it's by statute that we review the county's property. And we do have a limit of the dollar amount that we're looking at because we're not going to count pins and paper clips and whatnot. So it's a value of $500. We're looking at the electronics that we have as well. So
yeah, we start that process usually in November, finalize that in December with all of the departments. Each department, I send out the spreadsheets. They've had some mix theirs up as you go through the book. You kind of see that some spreadsheets are slightly different, but it still gives us the opportunity to provide a full list of an inventory. So once that's finalized in December, then we get that to the commission in the upcoming year, just to basically approve what the inventory was at the end of December as of 12/31 of 2024 or the previous year. So
And it's a little bit of an audit process
correct.
because if we do want to dispose of something, we declare it surplus.
Okay.
And then Purple Wave will sell it or will you know, however we dispose of it, if its usefulness is no longer gone. You know, I spoke to one of our, this lends a little bit with what you were saying, Ron. One of our officials, they had replaced something in their office, and so we just moved it over to another office. So there's some offices that may have desks that look a little used or something, and it's because they were.
Mhm.
Yeah, but we keep track of where all that inventory is. And it's amazing how many pages there are.
Yeah, it's quite the book. I don't think I'm gonna get through it in the next couple minutes.
No, and it's one of those that it's on file, it's always accessible. It'll be at the clerk's office, so it's just something that, you know, we'll put that in the back room of the clerks, and if anyone ever had a question on inventory, they're welcome to come and take a look at that, so.
Okay. So I assume everything in here is accounted for and the staff agrees with this inventory.
I would go ahead and move that we approve the 2024 county inventory book there.
I'll second it.
More discussion?
Well, and it's like Marcus said, it's open for review if someone from the public wants to look at it, or if we want to look at it anytime or whatever. It's just a handy tool.
Good amount of night reading there if you want to look at that. I'm gonna go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I'm an aye vote too. I need to remember to say that.
Sorry.
I don't think we're gonna get through these other two in 3 minutes, do you?
The structural steel bids.
We could do that.
Okay.
Skipping around the agenda here a little bit, we're gonna move on to the structural steel bids. For bids for structural steel on 1874 Flag Road. I'm not gonna read through all the different ones. There's some beams and irons, a lot of different steel in there. Looks like these are 3 separate bids at the bottom, the actual bid.
Staff is recommending the structural steel from Husker.
Okay.
We have, it's two separate, structural steel.
I see here, yeah, sorry. So the staff is recommending structural steel from Husker Steel. Does appear to be the lowest bid of $24,240. Move down below, you'll see a bid on decking, 12 gauge aluminized and push sheeting at $20,888.50. We only have one bid there. I do have a little background, commissioners, if you're curious. There is only one provider in the state for that particular material. That's why you only see one bid.
I would go ahead and make the motion. I think they probably should be separate. So I'll make the motion that we accept the bid from Husker Steel, $24,240. And that's on the structural steel there for Flag Road.
I'll second it.
More discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carries on the bid for Husker Steel, $24,240. Do I have another motion for Wellborn?
I would so move that we accept the bid from Wellborn Sales of $20,888.50.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
Sorry, I didn't get you up front, yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We accept the bids for both of the quotes on here. Does this need to be signed?
You can sign it just on the top that it was approved, and that will look for.
Is the 13th.
Yeah. We can give a little background as to the request before you as well before the public hearing starts.
Which one are we talking about here?
That is the public hearing on Banner Township's request to
Okay.
vacate roads.
Well, we're 11:15 now.
Yeah, we are at 11:15. So now we will be opening up for public comment on the hearing for the road vacate.
Usually we just gavel that in.
We gavel it?
Gavel that if they want to comment now, they can.
Okay. You can comment now. I don't think we have anybody here to comment on it. If anyone's curious, we looked at this on a map. You'd be a pretty good geographer if you could figure out there was even a road there. So I think closing the road's a pretty simplistic order of events. So I'm going to go ahead and motion that that we close or
Go ahead and close the hearing.
We'll close the
close the
hearing.
hearing? I have no idea on the hearing. I need to brush up. on
Typically,
hearings.
if someone does have a question or they challenge it, this would be the time to speak in the hearing. If you did have a comment or concern.
You're closing the road, and what's going on?
This is the area where the
Self-serve.
serve fueling station will be at there in Elmo.
And there is no mandate, is it zone property for this?
It's been approved for conditional use.
Industrial zoning or?
Tim, you want
And
to?
probably, sir, you should go ahead and state your name so we know. Are you a adjacent property owner or such, or,
I'm in property.
okay, and you live down in that area? Okay,
Yes.
okay, so, I mean, just so we have it on record, I'm procedurally, so.
We didn't pass the CUP for conditional use permit for the filling station. Tim can allude to a little bit more information.
Yeah, what it is in the county, we got rid of industrial and commercial zoning a long time ago. And so anything that is commercial in nature has to go through a conditional use permit through the planning commission and then approved through this board. And so that was done back in January, I believe it was. And the applicant who is requesting the road vacation is wanting to put a self-serve fueling station in there. It's just going to be fueling pumps. It's not going to be a structure or anything else. It's just fueling pumps so people can pull in and serve Elmo.
There is vending machines going in?
I don't know about that. They've not indicated that. So even if that were the case, it would not be enclosed in a building per se. It would just be out.
Public restroom.
Would you want to cover, once it is vacated, who owns the property and pays taxes on it, or is it
That would be
divided among the property owners on each side?
yes. Yes, it's basically the way it works is when you vacate a road, half goes to the one property owner, the other half goes to the other.
So if they own the property on both sides of the road, basically they get that, but they're in charge of the maintenance of it. And then
Exactly.
it was to clean up the,
Fence around this, so they can't have access from that to their fuel pumps.
Well, that I do not know. That's up to them. It's like I say, if they want to put some sort of screening up there, they can. But it's going to be serving that intersection of K4 and what is it? 15.
Mhm.
Are they gonna bury the tanks for storage for this underneath?
I believe they will.
And they'll have all the monitoring and everything?
Yes. They have to meet all state requirements.
And then I built a facility a long time ago. Found out that I wasn't zoned properly, so they had to go industrial on me. And they shut me down for 2.5 years, probably 2.5 weeks.
Well, that was because, again, this may have been prior to when we made the change in our zoning regulations to eliminate commercial and
was that several years
That
ago?
was after 5 years of being in operation.
But,
Do you remember the year that was, sir?
I mean, is this 1970s or 80s?
In 1982.
Okay.
Yeah, we still had zoning, commercial and industrial zoning then, but since 2008, that doesn't exist anymore. That designation, commercial and industrial zone.
And for safety factors, is there going to be an access to a phone in case anything happens there?
They have to meet whatever requirements the state requires, the feds, and whatever locally we require as well. There was nothing mentioned about emergency phones or anything like that.
Well, I've seen them haul in a lot of dirt and try to level, and they took the trees out. It opened that whole corner up. But I don't think you even have big enough roads to even bring a semi to be able to turn off at 15, and it could be a hazard. But the other thing is how it's buried. Everything underground is all going to be all monitored.
They have to meet whatever KDHE requires and whatever the fed requires. That was.
And is there an architect required to draw this out and show what's going in?
They're going to
How big of storage are they going to have?
They're going to provide a site.
Okay.
they're still working on that though.
The roads were never maintained and set to begin with, but Banner was the city. But when did it change? Yeah.
So,
Man of the
so
town.
just to back up a little bit, Tim, procedurally, this went through the planning board.
Yes, this was heard by the planning commission. You should have received notice if you were within 1,000 feet.
This is the first notice I've ever got. I do own property, you know.
Okay, because the hearing, we sent notice out to everyone within 1,000 feet of their parcel.
Okay.
And so if you like I say, and that was back in the December meeting that we had for planning commission, and then it was heard by the county commission in January.
Are you speaking in opposition of this, or you just have questions that you just want to have answered, I guess?
In my travels, I've seen some fuel pumps set up. And just 2 or 3 pump stations where they can stop and fill. It turns into a truck stop where they park their trucks and stay overnight.
No, they can't do that here.
There
Acreage,
is no laws listed though.
there's no acreage that they would allow for that. It's too small.
So Commissioner, what's
my
actually
point.
before you is
How
the
much
vacation of
did they
the
buy,
road.
you know?
This is totally separate.
There's a wheat field right beside this.
Right. If you want to, you can discuss this with me.
That's fine.
And
I don't want to stop anything, but.
No, and all we're reminding you of is this is a hearing over the vacation of the road, not so much the permit of the new operation coming in.
Very true.
Um,
But this is the first I've seen it, and I hear rumors they're gonna build this.
I would direct you towards Tim, possibly setting up a meeting.
after the meeting, and we can sit down and talk about it.
So the part in front of us really today, well, I guess we need to go ahead and close the hearing then.
I was gonna ask one last, does anybody else want to make any public comment over vacation of this road? We'll go ahead and close it down for public comment. Do I need to smack the gavel?
Yeah.
Are we in the
So
hearing?
it's closed, yeah.
Hearing is now ended.
I don't want to smack it.
You know, when I first started,
I
you
know
said
what
you
you
gotta
meant,
hit
though.
that thing or they won't hear it. So now
There you go.
I'm all over the board today, everybody. I apologize.
Okay, so we got that part hearing taken care of.
Okay.
So now we can go back to our regular. Right
Lost my
there.
agenda sheet, sorry. So now we're going to, let's go ahead and hear from a report from county officers, County Administrator Janelle Dockendorf.
Commissioners, as Lisa reported in the study session, the appraiser's office has now 27 payment or protest hearings scheduled, so they're working through that. The Public Works Department is replacing the bridge in the 1600 block of Key Road, and then obviously, since you approved the one on Flag Road, they'll start on that as well. Public Works Department is also installing riprap for the erosion control on several bridges, and Martin had reported that when he was in earlier. And he has a septic inspection as well, so as part of the environmental services piece. You heard from Laurel Overlease on regards to the upcoming Eisenhower Marathon, so we'll be working with her in our part for blockades going up. The Assistant County Administrator / Finance Director is working on the budget preparation, and we'll start that process. It's hard to believe it's March already, but it's time. We do have an open position in dispatch. Actually, we had 2, but we recently, as of yesterday, filled one of those. We have an open position in the Register of Deeds, and John reported that we had a Zoom interview for the RN position at the Health Department. And Dustin had reported that Twin Valley Telephone is installing a fiber line across the courthouse. We're working through the particulars on that so they don't damage sprinkler system, other phone lines and that. I also wanted to let you know that I had a visit from Angie Castile in regard to a medical call that she had called dispatch on, and she wanted to let myself and John Holgren and Emily Poppin know the outstanding response by our dispatchers and our EMS staff that helped her and her husband with that. And the dispatchers on duty were Asia Reynolds and Kyla Dean, and the EMS staff was Troy Halfhill, who's a paramedic, and Bryce Winters, who's an AMT. So she couldn't say enough nice things about the professionalism, the knowledge, the support that she received, and she just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. So that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
I don't believe I have any questions. I don't see Doug here.
Well, he didn't say that he was not coming.
I'm gonna take it, Doug we will not get a report from our county councilor, Doug Thompson. So moving on with the agenda with no notices or communications, we're gonna move on to introduction, consideration of resolutions. I believe this is probably why we're all here. Resolution 031325A for CUP 24-09 for the quarry.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes. Yes,
I
sir.
I was wondering, because I had noticed the parties were visiting in the hallway and they were trying to come up with something, and I was just curious if they had any agreement with each other, or maybe where we're at, unless you want to hear that, a report before you hear that, but I think it'd be important to hear from them, because maybe it would kind of cut through the chase and get us to where we need to be quicker.
Well, they're sitting together. I have a feeling they've maybe come to an agreement. Who would like to speak first?
Well, my name's Mark Edwards, and I'm appearing today, and my daughter's on the other line. Her husband has had a cancer appointment for at KU today to do some things, and so they're there, and that's the reason I'm here, and they're not here. And we've been talking to Mr. Walker, and we really do feel, I think, that we have an understanding, and I'm wondering if, and Mr. Walker would really like to get some clarity as far as what we've agreed to today. So I don't, but we don't actually have anything in writing yet. We've got a lot of scratching on this paper, and we also have a map that we're going by. Mr. Walker's here, and also his lawyer's here too. But it's, and basically, it's, you can step up here. We have this map, and we've kind of agreed, we have agreed, we feel, to, and we're going to attach this to the resolution that eventually you will approve. But I'm not too sure we're going to be able to have anything actually all doctored up and in the form that it needs to be today. But I don't know how long you're going to be here. We could maybe go somewhere and actually get a hard copy of this done. But I'm sensitive to your situation. I don't know how long your meetings last or what happens.
I think we need to ask the commission to go along with what we agreed to, even though it's going to be a little different than what you've been presented, because of the sensitive nature of some of the distances that we've been talking about. This map is an estimated quarrying site on this quarter section. This is an estimated area where the rock is. And we have set back, the closest that it gets to the house is 580 feet. And we have a line that goes probably from 750 feet down, closest is 580 feet. And what we've agreed to is to stay outside of that 580 feet and stick to the quarrying on this yellow line, because that's where we think the rock is. And what we would like to do, instead of using dirt or some other form of screening, we'd like to put a row of double stacked bales on that 580 foot radius, so that it will do some screening from the residents. The other things that we
And just so we're clear, in other words, the map that you see, there will be no quarrying on the inside of this Louisiana puzzle piece.
Okay.
Okay? And that means that the buffer line could be actually a little bit on the other side of this, but we're going to put double stacked bales there. And if I'm saying anything that you don't agree, that's fine. We need to talk about it. My understanding from talking to my daughter is that she and Fred have agreed that there would be no quarrying on the inside of the Louisiana puzzle piece. Okay?
Okay.
Now, you might have to be some slope back. If we quarry to that line, we may have to have a little slope back for safety purposes, you know, for KLOS, for MSHA, mine safety and health. But yeah, we agreed to not go beyond that line for quarrying. There are some other issues though that we need to have an agreement on in order for this agreement to work. And that is that the 1,000-foot setback from any or quarter-mile setback from any residence, that needs to come out. And any kind of setback from any residence needs to come out.
Well, that was my understanding that the dust abatement plan would still be in effect for the quarter-of-a-mile residential use.
Right, that's in the regulations, but the 1,000-foot setback and the quarter-mile setback isn't in the regulations.
No, that's going to be established in the area where you're going to be quarrying and then the beginning of the buffer zone.
Yeah, but we need to have that taken out about any setback from any residences that aren't involved in our agreement. Because if we have to set back a quarter of a mile or 1,000 feet from Jim McLaughlin's residence, which is within that distance, then, you know, that takes out a whole lot of quarrying, and he doesn't care. I mean,
yeah, but so enough.
Is it possible instead of putting 1,000 foot in there, saying use reference diagram or map A, and then we have a map showing?
What I would say is you can also do what I think one of the options would be just to say applicant to maintain at least 100 feet from the property line on that 9th condition.
Okay.
And then that way they can provide me with, the applicant can provide me with an updated site plan. You've already given me the, what do you call it?
I don't want anything about 100 feet. Okay.
Well, this is regulations. This is at least 100 feet from the property line.
We're okay with number 3, if that's what your updated site plan for the location prepared by a licensed surveyor to indicate setbacks of 100 feet on the south, north, and west property lines. We're okay with that.
Right. And what this would do is you could say applicant to maintain at least 100 feet from south property line as attached. So basically what you're recommending attaching. And so that's probably what we could do.
And so that would be the reference to how far they can come to the south property line.
Yeah, the map will be part of the record.
Yes, and that's what he's saying,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
as referenced by this
Reference.
site plan map. Yep. I think we're in agreement there.
Yes.
Okay.
And we do have this meeting recorded also.
So exactly.
So that's also substantiating what you're agreeing to, other than we'll need the signatures and.
I'll have to submit.
And number 7, on number 7, we're talking about the updated well study for the operations in section 1. See the Moody properties in section 12. So we're just putting at the end of that plus the Moody well. On number 7, the Moody well. And
that wasn't in the original study, and I think we need to identify what wells that you were talking about in the original study, because some of them were not on this property. They were up on K18. So in that paragraph, we need to identify what wells that you want us to update the study on.
The issue was you submitted a well study from 1997
95.
or 95 that was pertaining to the project that was going on in that section there, that all the wells that were around there. So what you would do is it would be on you to find out how many of those wells around this current southwest quarter would be, and just update your study.
Yeah, but there are wells in that study that aren't in this area.
Okay, that's what I mean. I said you're updating that study, the study that you submitted from 95 to show that it's updating it for this location.
I'm happy to update for this area, but we don't even have any interest in an area on 18 anymore.
That's fine.
Part of the study.
That's fine. You can take that out. You can take that out.
Okay.
And then on the map, I'm going to initial the color one that we have today. So, and this is the map provided by their engineer, Hatzel is his name. Right?
He's the quarry manager for
He's
vice president of the quarry fire.
okay. All right. He's right. And then if you would initial this too, we'll have a record and we can have Mr. Hamilton hold it. And I'm going to date it. Today is the 14th, right?
13th, March 13th.
Okay.
And we can make copies of that for both of you here.
Oh, that'd be great.
Take what you
Slip out
got.
and do that after the meeting or.
Yep.
Because clearly I think I've already said what our understanding of this is with this Louisiana puzzle piece. And and then, do you have anything else that you want to people to talk about?
I don't think we need to have the north property line surveyed because that belongs to Jim McLaughlin and we've already quarried along that line. So we won't need that survey.
Okay.
And Mr. McLaughlin's here.
Yes.
So you're in agreement with what he's
Yes.
saying.
Okay. So our intent would then be to, I really think for posterity purposes that we could do away, the bold top of your resolution is fine, but I think the recitation of what happened on December the 19th and or the commission voting 3-0 probably could disappear. And then we'll have go down these. It's my understanding that we have 1, 2, 3 is you're going to take out the north side. And number the bond stuff is all the same. The road maintenance is all the same. And then the overburden portion of that number 6 will be the form of the screening, and then per in it'll be a double stack of large round bales, close per in, 500-foot reference between
80 foot.
580-foot radius quarry from the adjacent residential uses along the yellow buffer line on the attached map.
Okay, on number 6, just to kind of go with the way that our regulations are currently written, it says use of overburden other than the form or other form of screening, which means that would take in whatever you're proposing to do. We don't have to necessarily be specific on the resolution. We can just, because that's a civil type agreement, as to what.
Well, if you agree to it though.
If these guys have agreed to that, then it's because the way that the regulations are written, it doesn't specify, it just says overburden or whatever you guys agree to. If you agree to what they're wanting to do, then
I
they're.
think we're going to agree to the hay bale stacking. So why don't we add that language?
We could do, or leave the or in there if you want to, or the form of screening paren, the double stacked large round bales, close paren, between the quarry and the adjacent residential uses along the yellow buffer line on the attached map.
I'll say Exhibit A.
We agreed to put
Oh, yeah, the 580-foot radius.
bales will be on the 580-foot radius, but the yellow line is as far as we can quarry.
Gotcha.
Do those bells have to bring some additional in or replace or, I mean, say a decade from now, or the bells that are there, is that, we don't really worry about that right now?
Well, I think we could. I defer to your expertise on doing it more than one of these.
Just asking, I'm just,
I'd say use and maintenance of overburden, and then that would imply,
Because Jim has cattle.
in other words, in 6 years, when somebody tries to knock one over, you're gonna go put it back up. That's all we're saying.
But why don't we just put in here that we'll maintain a
Double
double
stack.
stack?
Yep.
okay.
Okay. And then there's going to be an updated well study and we're going to identify the ones that Mr. Hamilton wants us to do. But we're going to include the Moody well in section 12.
Okay.
And then 8's the same, and then number 9 will be,
The 580 and Exhibit A map.
I'm sorry.
Will that be the 580 and Exhibit A map that you're providing?
Yes, sir. And then the applicant has agreed to limit all quarrying activity pursuant to the activity identified in the attached maps by Hardisol inside the yellow.
Yeah, but a little bit of the issue, problem with that is quarrying activity. What does that mean? I mean, do we build a road? Is that quarrying activity?
Well, that's incidental to it. It's not necessarily quarrying activity to do that. But I said that's what I'm referring to is probably blasting and actually mining.
But if we build a road across where this isn't shown as a quarrying area, that's not considered a quarrying activity.
Right. That's just incidental to the quarry. That's the only way I can explain it.
No, there's no roads in front of the barrier.
Okay, so again, you understand there's no quarrying outside the yellow map.
It's on both sides, right? But the activity, like if we come up here and we make a road across here up by Harry McLaughlin's old house, that's not considered quarrying activity.
Jim McLaughlin.
No, this is Harry's house, old.
Is that the abandoned house you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's talking about the abandoned house.
Well, I mean, I'm not, Mr. Hamilton, I think, has explained about what's quarrying activity and what isn't. So.
Right.
I agree. And that'd be incidental, Dave. So building a road there to get in and out, that's incidental to the quarrying activity. So you're going to be covered by that.
We're okay with that.
Okay. I think we got an agreement then.
Okay.
Janelle, could we vote on this and then have Tim doctor up
I think
our resolution for us to actually sign next week?
I think you could vote on it, subject to the
Those
revision
changes. Yeah.
provided.
Yeah, I agree.
And then both parties, you'd have a copy of that also.
Yes.
So,
And we'll
because,
make copies of this today, right, Tim?
We'll get a copy of
Sorry
it.
to interrupt you.
because Mr. Edwards had said, Mark, you had said, you asked how long we were going to be here. You asked how long we were going to be here because you could do something quickly. Is that, or is the method here just having Tim make something up and then,
You can just provide me whatever you guys come up with finally and just email it to me. And then I can just include that for these guys next week. So whatever details you haven't worked out just yet, just.
I think they've worked them out though.
I think we worked everything out here
Yeah.
today.
So what you can do is just clean up your copy there and make it a final version of your agreement and just email it to
Can
me.
they initial those?
1 minute. I'll be right back. I want to-
And we will make sure that it follows our zoning regulations.
Yes, yes,
Yes, because that's still our duty.
yes. And based on what's here, I mean, it meets it, but it's just.
Motion. That's the resolution, the tentative,
Yeah,
the.
yeah. I'll just have you
Subject to the agreed changes.
I think that-
How that motion.
And then,
You motion.
Yes.
Well, not a motion.
well, it's, you know, as long as we have a clean document later that's typed and all that, but I think if we have a copy of what they've done, their notes, and they initial it.
And I can have them initial this too, that I've made notes on.
What's the recording? I think we got enough. Do you agree, council?
I think you got enough there. Are you able to copy these from here? Once they come back in?
Yeah, we should be able to get that there.
Okay, good.
Yep.
You can copy in here.
I'll give them you want to give them a little few minutes here?
Yeah, sure. I think they're.
Want to hear Doug's report since he's here while we're
Yeah,
waiting?
why don't we do that in the meantime? Doug, we want to give you a report?
Well,
Commercial.
what we
commercial break.
did yesterday was through the drug court, and there were people that got signed out, got done, 3 of them that were completed, and they made a full recovery, and moving forward with that very well. And Junction City, why similar event, there's 3 people that are in the program right now, and unfortunately, all 3 are positive and having a tough time getting away from it. So the drugs, meth and all this mess of stuff is just really making a tough time for people. I had no idea that people could be so addicted to pill, but that's what they get to, and smoking and other stuff. And so anyway, we're trying to work through that, but really good job yesterday. We had speakers come up and the place was packed, and it was good. Thank you for being there. And so that's what we've got going with that. And that's what I've got going right now.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Do you have any notices or communications? Anything in the mail?
I got a lot of papers here. I'm gonna read, I have to go through them after the meeting.
Okay.
I had old mail.
And maybe the other week, and we happen to get this, but county news, and they go ahead and nationally, it's a publication and says kind of what the counties are doing. And actually, I also was kind of flipping the channels and happened to get on the, I think it was the National Public Broadcast or such. And all of a sudden I picked up, it was the national meeting that they have back in Washington, DC. And so so anyway, without being there, and of course we can get that too. We can listen to it if we want, but they're just talking about some of the national issues and had people from the President Trump administration get up and speak, and had some questions from council members on, things that they need to do and things we need to work together on.
Watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to make sure we talk.
Sure.
Go ahead. Do you have any questions about our expertise?
I was gonna say, did you want me to, what I was gonna do is just have you initial some of the stuff.
And then we'll take copies. That way we have it as part of the record.
I've initialed that.
Okay.
Thanks, Mr. Walker.
Okay, so it's the same, okay.
And then we have this,
Yeah, let me make some copies and I'll go ahead and I can make out what you're.
And what I want for my records is is a typed up copy signed by the commission.
And it will be.
Yeah.
It will be.
It just won't happen till next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I'll go ahead and if you want to, commissioners, did you want me just to go ahead and act on this now? And then I'll go ahead and make copies for our records and then present that to you next week.
What I'd like to do.
Tim, do you want to go ahead and just kind of outline what you want in the motion? So we can have that, and also,
You just move to table consideration until next week when the applicant's agreement has been fully composed and staff can bring a resolution to you. That's
so you, okay, because I thought we were going to approve this
you can
today,
you guys.
since they're in agreement and they're here.
I'd like to vote to approve.
Subject.
Subject to the agreement that was.
Would I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
I think technically, it needs, well, it should be that you will, gonna vacate the decision that you made on February the 13th.
Yes, I agree.
Set that
We'll
aside.
Do that. I agree. I was just thinking we need to motion that first, probably.
Right, and then this new agreement that's been recited on the record would be reduced to writing, and upon being furnished to you and satisfaction by the parties that represents what was said today, that it would be officially approved.
Yes.
Why don't we get the process started here?
Okay.
I'm going to motion to strike or vacate the conditions set by the commission on February, and I lost my
February
At the previous meeting.
February 13th
Mhm.
on conditional use permit 24-09. That's all I need to.
And I'll second that motion.
All those in, any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Also have a second motion here. I motion to,
And just, excuse me, and just so they know that we did that, I guess.
so previous motion, I just motioned to strike the language from the previous meeting on the conditions that were set. I'm now going to motion to approve the resolution with the conditions that the two parties have set with each other. We will get a formal document. This is kind of a motion. Yep. So let me go ahead and start that. So I'm going to motion to pass resolution 24-09 on the conditions that the two parties have set with each other in this meeting today. The director, Tim Hamilton, will provide a resolution to the commission for next week to actually sign. But today we will actually pass the conditional use permit.
And the basis for, well, and I'll second that. And for discussion, the basis for that is it has been recited and is part of the record, but also you have documents that you agreed upon and both initialed that will be the basis of that.
And you will provide to Tim, which I know you're doing right now
And also our attorney can review it
as well.
And what's would the new resolution have a number?
It's going to be 032025,
0.
032025. Yes, we just use the date.
So it's 031325.
That's the current one. The new resolution will be 032025 because next week we'll actually vote on it
Okay.
or actually sign it.
Oh, so you're talking about it be the next week.
Correct. For the resolution, yes.
But we've actually approved it. It's just
We're
the
approving the
formal
permit.
document
We don't have a document to
that will
sign.
be written and signed.
Just for the record, I'm not going to be here next Thursday. But I'll communicate with you one way or the
I
other.
can mail you a copy too. If
I can email you. I've got your email.
So Tim, when would he expect that email? Probably
Probably,
this week or Monday,
Probably.
Tuesday?
probably, I'm gonna put it together Friday. To this Friday, tomorrow. And then just.
Will that be in final form then?
Yeah.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Send it to Doug.
Okay, I will sure will. I have.
that being said, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Well,
Thank you
for working
guys.
together.
No, I want to say something. You guys worked together. We came to a good resolution here. I think this was good work. Thank you guys for working with each other,
Well,
making our job a little easier.
we've been trying to work around Fred's cancer problem, and it's taken longer than we expected, and I appreciate your patience.
Thank you guys.
When you get a chance.
We got to do that.
Yes, I think that was helpful.
Okay. How long do you want this one to be?
Well, no, you have the resolution for the vacation. We haven't made that.
Sorry.
So you're fine.
I'm not doing very good this weekend.
It's got a lot of notes you've written down.
I need to practice a little bit. Okay, now we're gonna move on to resolution 031325 for road vacation in Banner Township as discussed earlier during our hearing. I will open it up for discussion.
Well, I think Tim had covered that well, that it is, what we're doing is vacating the road, and then that takes care of the footprints. So additional work can be considered, so.
And it's on behalf,
It's not a road that's being used, or like you said, it's not identifiable as a road by just glancing at it.
Do I hear a motion?
I would move that we adopt resolution 031325 for the road vacate in Banner Township.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
and we will notify the township as well. So
An executive session, how long?
I'm saying 30 minutes, and that would include the commission, myself, Dustin, Marcus. And that should be, and that should be it. I don't know if we need Doug for this as well.
Okay,
I would move that we go into executive session. The purpose is to discuss security measures. And we would do that at noon, 12 o'clock for 30 minutes. It would include the commission, Janelle, Dustin, and Marcus Rothschild.
And I'll second it.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So at 12 PM, we will go into executive session. We'll ask everyone to remove themselves from the room who was not called upon.
Dustin, not Doug. Yeah.
I got it now. She wrote me, Lynn, she wrote me a cheat sheet now.
He does.
Oh.
I will try to do that, just if that helps. That is not a problem.
The hearing, I didn't know that. You guys told me.
Okay, I guess we haven't had anything like that.
No.
So, yeah.
I had no idea.
One. I think those is necessary. I mean, you want him, I'm sorry.
Not necessarily.
Go per out.
Yeah, 30, please. So
So they still have to operate within their site.
I will have them redo them.
Set plan is,
Want me to redo it?
Yeah.
I mean,
And actually, we can take this up later because we have our executive session at noon in 1 minute, and it can only be us in here.
Any other-
that's the first time I got a letter.
Okay.
I just heard.
Okay.
What they
Add
were
them
going
to
to
that.
do.
Yeah.
And I just need
Quickly, guys, I need to do another motion here.
to reset their running during the night.
Okay.
I motion to add county.
We'll be in touch.
I motion to add County Councilor Doug Thompson to the executive session just previously motioned.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, so.
I'm going to motion that we return back to regular session.
All second?
All those in favor say aye. Aye. With no further agenda items, I believe we can vote to adjourn today.
I would so move.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.